Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Time to bring to the fore again something topical and something that will interest you as a Nigerian. Thank you for joining us today. This is Panorama of the Integrity Radio Station Splash 106.7 FM. It's 3 minutes gone past the clock from Nigeria. That is just do the calculation as to whatever time that might be, wherever it is you are located. Thank you for joining us once again. We bring again so that you'll be aware and know topical issues to the fore so that you can be informed and know exactly what is happening all around you and make adequate and informed decisions as a result. I am Gbenga. Feyehun. Lola is here. Lola, what's going on?
Hello everyone, I'm Lola, Meduteni. It's good to be here again. This is my final lap for the week, but Gbenga will carry you through to tomorrow and Friday.
You get excited about that, right?
Well, I admit to nothing. I plead the fifth, actually. Speaking of pleading the fifth, the world is jubilating. Well, black people mostly are jubilating at the verdict passed, finding Derek Chauvin guilty of murdering George Floyd. You'd have to have lived under a rock in the last 1 year not to have heard, or even seen the very upsetting video where Chauvin was kneeling on Floyd's neck, which
For about
eventually
8 minutes, some seconds.
Yep. And it's been a very long trial, and everyone's been interested, given what's happening with police brutality, not just in Nigeria, but in the U.S. and racism and all of that. So, yeah, that's a bit of world politics. But let's get into our agenda for today.
Hey, which is going to be centered on the rate of unemployment in Nigeria and the special public works program. And what is the long-lasting solution to this situation? Well, so that you are aware and so you have some bit of background knowledge about this. Sometimes earlier this year, 5th of January to be specific, the special public works program commenced. And the idea is to have the federal government engage 1,000 people across 774 local government areas in Nigeria that make up the entirety of the nation, which would give 774,000 people being engaged by the federal government. They would also get some sort of stipend from the FG at the end of 3 months. And our findings reveal that some have not gotten paid, some started to see their pay, and several people had to call out the Minister of State for Labor and Employment sometimes. I think 2 weeks ago, I was talking about, what's his name again? Festus Keyamo, right? About the payment and all of that. And so I want to look at whether this is actually a long-lasting solution to the problem of unemployment in Nigeria. You would enjoy this conversation, to say the least. I'll show you that. We have joining us in the studio, Ayo Arowojolu, who's a public affairs analyst. It's been a while that I saw him. Thank you for coming today.
Well, thank God I'm here. Good morning.
All right, he's also in the company of Comrade Abiodun Orenuga, an erstwhile student union activist and an agripreneur. Good morning, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, listeners at home.
Right, so let's get this started. It's been said time and again that the assets of any nation are greatest asset any nation has is its human capital. In other words, its population. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation with a number of to that mix underemployed.
Of countries monitored by Bloomberg. Three months through December, according to a report published by National Bureau of Statistics. The last period for which the agency released labor force statistics.
Sometimes in October 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, approved a pilot special public works program in the rural After much ado, the program kicked off on January 5th, 2021, with the engagement of 1,000 individuals from the 774 local government areas of the nation. 3 months after kickoff, payment to these individuals has been staggered. Several cried out some time ago for not having gotten their own pay. Welcome to our show of the day, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria, the special public works program. What is the long-lasting solution? We'll get this started by listening to Bismarck Rewani, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company Limited and a member of Nigeria's presidential.
Understand this because we have to understand the difference between what we call leading economic indicators and lagging economic indicators. Leading economic indicators tell you what happens during or before the cycle picks up. Lagging indicators happen after the cycle has picked up and begins to go in that direction. So first and foremost, the figures that have come out paint a very dreadful picture. It's a dreadful picture. Whichever way you want to slice or dice it. One, high unemployment, 33.2. And when you drill down and make it urban, and youth unemployment, it goes up to 54. And which is another producing state, also having the sum of inflation and unemployment gives you what they call the misery index. The misery index in this case has actually increased because inflation is at a 48-month and unemployment way back in 1990 was only 3%, and now it's 33%. So the citizens are under pressure. Now let us now back up a little bit and ask, what's the therapy being embarked upon by the government and policymakers to deal with this? Is that therapy, the dose adequate? Is it being done in a timely manner so that you can have the desired impact? The question is that, yes, it deals with the structural problems, it deals with the operating problems that we have, but the dose is not adequate.
You heard him right there when he spoke to us, Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company Limited and member of Nigeria's Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Bismarck Rewani. Ayo, let's bring you into this way. What caught my attention when Bismarck Rewani spoke was the fact that unemployment in 1990 was 3%, and now it's 33.3%.
Gbenga. Well, unemployment, leaving the statistics and the economic theory book, unemployment simply means people who or they are doing little, and this percentage is really very large, almost of last year and we never can tell what it will be later this year. But unemployment is the reason why why we are here as a nation, talking about rising crime rate, talking about banditry. And area boys, people really doing nothing. But in the past, what may have been different as at 1990 is that the government that we have, successive government, those years, tinker with something to do. You remember that even in the Second Republic, where we have the Adjacents, the Onobanjo, they tinkered with projects that can provide a lot of job openings, not just handing out jobs. Government seems to be the largest employer in a way. It's not about government doing special public. Onobanjo tinkered with the Iwopin paper mill. Adjacent did first of its kind in the whole of West Africa, producing glass sheet. Others that even by the MPN government, then the Ajaokuta still, they are larger and many. But these days now, nobody tinker with industrial projects. What people are doing, and that accounts for why what we spend our budget, what we devote hugely in the budget is our recurrent items, and very bad. These days, no government is talking about what to do to take people off. To me, that's governance. Everything that the administration did had to ripple effect. Ogun State, at the last count, more than maybe about in Abeokuta alone, we have about impact on the people, except rice selling people who are there. I don't know, when those people enter the state, they are not going to put sight there. Into the town. People who come to Abeokuta say, wow, see the Kuto. Almost all the roads in town are bad. The connecting roads everywhere. If you want to site an industry or anything, an investment along Obantoko, what I'm really saying is that what government should do, we invested massively in bridges. From, maybe even the cement was imported. When Gbenga Daniel was here, he tried to do Ogroma. They were using people who were hitherto dormant, engineers there. It will be recycled. They will, they did laddering, the whole of that laddering, and the massive structure that you have in the governor's office, Block A, Block B, Block C, Block D. Those projects were done by direct labor, assembled bricklayers together, assembled carpenters together. All these people will take money back home to their wives. I think that is what is missing now. People are not, they're just looking, okay, we open government portals, job portals, and people begin to rush. I asked them the other time, some people were worrying me, I should help them also. Go and find out how many people applied to be in employed. How many people did they take? At the end of the day, I had maybe...
One, it is good to use your local content in some instances, because it's what you give to your people that they will be able to support. But notwithstanding, that does not mean you should compromise the standard or the quality of what you want to achieve. Because whatever project somebody wants to embark on must be sustainable. That is meeting the needs of the present without jeopardizing the we must also ensure so in view of that, I would say that there are some that could be of people that are well looking beyond that, looking beyond like we asked him 1990, you know where unemployment was. The level of poverty in Nigeria is increasing every day. There are other areas we must also consider. Government in 2015 because of unemployment. Then you have to look backward. But I'm looking for job. Okay, I remember now. Sometimes ago, when you are invited for interview, you will be paid for your transport, they will serve you food. But even beyond, let's even go back maybe 1980s. I was told that in their days, maybe days of Obasanjo, that one day was saying that even in their time, they begged them to get a job. Immediately they graduated, the job is waiting, car is waiting, houses are waiting. And it was because but now we are at it. We have oil in Nigeria, but yet we are importing. Because there are people within Nigeria who work in that have collapsed. Those are the problem. I was looking at something on WhatsApp recently. I was told all of them, they are nowhere to be found. We have rubber industries in Nigeria. Then why won't we talk about unemployment? If those industries are moving away because of lack of power, lack of security, our money is getting devalued every day. We can no longer compete with international countries. So there will be problem. There will be massive unemployment.
Okay.
God help us.
Let me take you back to pre-2015, before the APC became the rule. That was one of the major the Muhammadu Buhari administration, pledging that it would create 3 million 2015. The unemployment rate in the country was 8.2%. 6.1 million Nigerians at the time were unemployed. And now we have 33 who are unemployed. Some say that, it kick-started the programs. Even the public works were talking about the different type of social investment schemes the government has created to sort of alleviate this unemployment. But we've seen the unemployment validates the saying that government has no business.
Well, okay. It is true. The primary roles of government the only thing government want to do, and is thinking they'll be addressing the sincerity. When people want to contest for office, some people will say hope, some people will say change. But if after 4 years and 6 or 6 years, there is nothing that is called change in the positive time. What is called change now looks like bringing, like it's as if the country is on reverse gear. Because in 2015, we were thinking and we don't know what will happen. Those social welfare schemes, they are stopgaps. Yes, trader money, just let people have it. Some people have even said in their parlor gossips, say, let's divide, or let's apportion money to every individual in Nigeria, and let everybody go and fend for himself. But you see, trader money, even the PS, the special public rewards program, it appears to me it's not well thought out. Government is just being reactionary. Fortunately, they did not define dash money. It's okay, people are hungry, but to reverse the trend, the present misfortune. Number one, maybe about three things. We talk about Naira. To get Naira to appreciate, you cannot, it appears that our economic, those people who are handling the economy now, they are allowing a free fall. Naira should be worked upon. You don't just get it up like that. It has to be deliberate. Number one, get competent people by meritocracy. Get competent people to tinker with the economy. I'm not so sure we have that now. The Naira must have value. Number two, the issue of refinery or the issue of our oil is becoming like a cause. And successive aspirants to presidency will always tell you, oh, we'll bring back Naira to so against the dollar. We'll bring petrol to 40 Naira and things like that. This must be deliberate. Then you now also look at what people are doing in the labor market. If you ask Dangote now, go and take a peep into what they are doing at the refinery, the ongoing projects. Find out how many Indians are there. Some of this job should have been reserved for people here, and there will be efficiency. I know the Indians are efficient, but how did they get 500, close to 1,000 Indians, and some of these foreign people to be doing jobs that our people can do? It's part of it. When you take 1,000 out of the unemployment, this petroleum thing has to be deliberate. And finally, we must also talk about power. People can take jobs, welders can develop jobs on their own, whereas we are supposed to have like 200 welders in a given locality. The actual welders that are seeing something to do, maybe they are not more than, in my locality, for example, maybe, whereas that community can accommodate about 200 welders, we just have like 25 who are just barely managing to survive. And the reason is that there is no power. You solve the problem of power, solve the problem of Naira, solve the problem of refinery, and we're good to go.
Okay, Ayo, let me ask you this, and this has to do with unemployment as well, and underemployment. I'm trying to get out the statistics as to the rate of underemployment in Nigeria. But if there was supposed to be a choice, which one is underemployment? Is it as grievous as unemployment itself?
Well, they say half bread is better than none. What is happening in Nigeria is both rampantly. You can get better. Some of us would not be where we are if the mix is all right. But well, we are managing. It's both bad, but half bread is better than one. I know. Yeah, that's the way I put it.
Okay, comrades Abiodun. I mentioned how in yesteryears, growing up, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, we graduated and they had to make a choice as to what job they wanted to do. But that is really the case these days. How is it that the leaders who were part of this, they experienced this, saw it happen, how is it that they cannot reproduce this these days?
Well, the answer is straightforward. I think there's lack of focus. And if I'm permitted, maybe I could say self-centeredness. They've used their own time and they've consumed the future along with it. And stealing what belongs, what should have been invested in the future of Nigeria. Some have turned into private properties. They lack focus. And those are the answers. The reason is this. if you enjoy, some of them enjoy free education. Now they cannot sustain it. In fact, even the one you will pay for, the education we are paying for now, is not even as quality as that of those days. As a saying Yoruba or a song I used to put standards is at the job, they can do better than university graduate of nowadays. We've seen our government saying that Nigerian graduates are no longer employable, and they are still proud to say it. So those are the things that are accounted for this. People then, they've forgotten the future. They're not thinking about the future. They're just looking at, okay, let me have my family, and we are good to go. They are taking them beyond what it should.
If I may add, the complacency of Nigerians have contributed to what is happening.
The citizenry, you mean?
Sir?
The citizenry.
Yes. Because I recall in my state, let me not mention my state, when we were doing the election some months back, we were telling them, we were just the people who wanted they collected 10,000 naira, they cooked soup that would last for just maybe 1 day or 2 days. Today, the same people of that state, they are biting their fingers. Why? Because the same government that they voted for, as I heard, has not paid salaries since November. And what they are now paying is that they say, well, there's no money, you'll be taking 10 and 30%. You see, the people's expectation from government is nil. You just see them every 4 years. Look at the amount that was carted away from Delta State by Ibori. At that time, the people of the state said, no, our money was not missing. Yes, but the money has been found. Even the governor then did not cooperate with the federal government and said, well, we didn't declare any money missing. Now the money is there. Look at how much those billions can do for the people. Even if they won't do anything with it, let them share it to everybody in that state. I'm sure everybody will still have close to 1 million naira each. So I want to believe that our people should have higher expectation. The standard is falling. Gone seems to be the days that you say, this government will perform. There's no performance anywhere. And the people who do a little, maybe a drop in an ocean, they say, hey, the governor will begin to clap for them. You're talking about ambulances. There are some things that should be taken for granted in governance. But these days, even the little they do, people hear them. I'm an apostle of Ganifa when he said it, I interviewed him, he said, when government is not doing well, you must cry, you must shout, you must do everything. He said, even when it appears that they are doing well, don't clap for them. It's their duty. If you clap for them, they slide back and they don't do more again. Now, the first 2 years of many of the governors, these are the first two, it's about to end. Mark it, nobody is going to do anything for another 2 years. And that's just the dilemma of the electorate. That's what I'll say.
All right. Well, you can be a part of the conversation. You can tweet at us, #Panorama, and drop your tweets or drop a comment on Facebook or WhatsApp at Splash FM 106.7 or 0817-555-1067. Phone lines are 0704-400-1067, 0817-444-1067, and 0817-555-1067. That number has dual functions as a WhatsApp line and a call line. Now, today is World Creativity and Innovation Day, coincidentally. And there was a recent ranking done by FBI intelligence that placed Nigeria as, okay, we lost that call. I'll get to the rest of my question after we take this telephone call. Hello? Please turn off your radio.
I'm away from it. Is it okay now?
Yes, it's better now. What's your name, please, and where you
Good
calling
morning, Lola. Good morning, Gbenga.
Good morning,
Ayo,
Abayomi.
good morning. Good morning,
Oh,
comrade.
good morning, my brother.
Yeah, a lot has been said about unemployment. But for me, I want us to look at what could be the ways out. First, there are so many policies that the government puts out these days that are even killing the existing ones that are managing. Take, for instance, policies on taxation, where you over. I was part of an exercise where the tax authority, the company was telling them that in the last 1 year, we have laid off more than 70% of our personnel. And the tax officer was telling them that that is none of their own business. All these things will kill the existing business. And when you kill this existing business, those who are working there will join the unemployment trade. So we have to look at that. Secondly, the businesses that are dead today, it's not easy for you to start up a new business. Now, we see so many companies that have been closed down. You see their facilities idle. Why can't the government look at a way of making use of these facilities rather than allowing religious bodies taking them over? Instead of building new facilities, building new companies, encourage people to come over. This particular building, can you make use of it? Some weeks back, I was at the Lagos Federal Secretariat Complex. It was an eyesore. The massive building there that we can use for businesses. You can tell people, pay just 1,000 naira as your rent every month. And some people will have something doing. By that, you even have revenue for the state force. But the policies we are bringing out, the way we are doing things, now our government will say they want to help people. They will push out funds. They will push out cash to people. This cash running after products that are not in existence. We won't make headway with that. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Lola.
Morning, Abayomi. Thank you very much for your contribution. All right, let me quickly slip in my question.
Well, before you go, I thought to add that a chance we have any beneficiary of the public works program who wants to speak with us about their experience as regards to those who encourage that.
All right, so as I said, today is World Creativity and Innovation Day, and 5 countries beat us in the ranking by FDI intelligence on, countries where they have a great tech ecosystem, Egypt, Ghana, and the likes. Now, you've established that these social welfare schemes are a stopgap measure. They're intended to be temporary. And a lot of them are populist-oriented because, as you said, when there's a huge cry by people, or like during the COVID-19 pandemic that people were bemoaning their unemployment woes, government had to do something. And as sort of throwing a bone to a dog, they just, said, okay, let's create this 774,000 jobs. But the 774,000 jobs is only one of many. I've listed a number of other social welfare schemes that this administration has embarked on since 2015. And despite that, unemployment hasn't gotten better. It has gotten worse. So is this sort of causing the government not to misdirect its attention or to lose sight of its priorities and not focus on a long-term and lasting solution as opposed to a stopgap measure? All these temporary palliatives, because in a couple of months' time, the 774,000 people that are employed will no longer be employed. They'll collect their 20,000 naira for a few months and then they'll go back into the unemployment market. So all these temporary measures, are they distracting our focus from creating actual innovations that will employ people, more people, or create an enabling business environment? Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
After is my name. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Falabi, thank you for calling us.
Thank you, our guest, for your various submissions. But I want to add as well, from my own understanding of the whole thing about unemployment in Nigeria, I think it's a structural one. Structural one in the sense that our political or administrative
and they are not ready to solve this problem for us. Let's take, for instance, the issue of corruption. It is one of the main problems we are having when we talk about unemployment. And I want to say that in this wise. What is the problem with our refineries? These refineries refuse to work. We spent a lot of money in constructing them. And if these refineries are working, we know the number of people that they employ. But deliberately, these people, they refuse to make it work. It is part of the reason why we have unemployment. Let us look at the issue of all these political gladiators. They decided to improvise the masses and create a gap so that they can use unemployed youth as their political tools for whatever reasons they think. So it is part of it. And yes, government has a lot of sector partners is to make it work. The main role of government creates an enabling environment for local and foreign investments and to provide good regulations and we guide the workability of any business in this country. But these things are not done. And then if you look at our tax system,
Hello, Afalada, are you there? Right, then we lost them. Do all the call back. And then
As a sort of clarification, government has no business in business. That saying doesn't mean that government should own business. It just means that government should create an enabling environment so that people can create businesses.
All right,
yes,
so as a sort of appeal as well, please keep your thoughts down to 2 minutes so we can allow you.
Okay, well, what you see, governance is a craft. It is an art. There is a passion for governance. What is absent now is creativity and passion. Recall in the Babangida days, that's when you were proud, despite being a military government. Forget about how it later ended. You were having a Babangida as president, the way he was turning things around, initiating projects. That's somebody who came prepared. You see, lack of preparedness is also showing his face in this. People are just mounting. They say change. How will this change come? And it's a lesson for us as Nigerians in the next dispensation. Anything you bring, whether you call it change or you call it hope or you call it water or turn around, what we should be asking, what should interest us, what 1, 2, 3 thing will you be doing to bring about this change? You see, we don't have people who are passionate about serving others. I give it to Babangida those days from the way, it was as if this man prepared 20 years before then that I'm going to be president one day. And he used the best brains. Look at our cabinet. You don't really get people who inspire. You just get a pocket of them. And the pockets of them are not, their work is not showing. For example, in Fashola, people are wondering, Fashola is in that place and we're not seeing anything. And these guys have brain. But it's not happening because of the environment they have found themselves. And there is another thing. It appears that this era, as it is, lacks capacity to evaluate. You work with a set of people. You cannot put a set of ministers somewhere and in 2 years you don't say, let's do some rejigging. This one is not working, we throw him away. The way this era works, it appears even for the 8 years, they don't mind retaining everybody. They say continue even against the law. There are a lot of people that could, we need a lot of, and it's no rocket science really to run this country. But I don't know. I don't just know what to say.
All right. We also have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala who gave some warning signs to this. So take a listen to what he said, and then we'll get back to the point.
Whatever fiscal and monetary policy is being run should be supportive of a shifting structure in the economy and the creation of jobs for our youth. That's my biggest concern. You know, we have a very youthful population, 60% or more under 35. If you don't start thinking of what their jobs to create for them in the future, then there's a difficulty.
The economy is producing at below full employment, very below full employment, and it's worrisome. And so you are right, the typical Keynesian policy may not do it alone, because the price we have affects both the demand and the supply side of the economy. So you don't need just the Keynesian policy mix. You need to look at the supply side also, look at the bottlenecks, dividing constraints in the economy, and relieve dividing constraints. So you need both sides, both the fiscal side and investment policies to put in place. And I suspect what I want to advise is that the government economic stability plan, which they put together, should be implemented like yesterday, especially the agriculture and the housing component of that plan. It will go a long way to help in the unemployment. In fact, it's the international crisis, we have to be honest.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. All right, and thanks for staying with us. You heard Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the Director General of the World Trade Organization. And right after that, you also heard Professor Akpan Eko. He's a professor of economics and policy at the University of Uyo. He shared some bit of solution to unemployment situation in Nigeria. So we'll get back to the calls now. 0817-444-1067, 0704-400-1067, 0817-555-1067. We should also mention that we're live on Facebook, and so you could also drop us comments on the live video feed that you find at Splash FM 1067. Also, you could drop us tweets. Be sure to use the hashtag Panorama when you send those tweets. The handle is at Splash FM 1067. Keep your thoughts down to 2 minutes to include. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm calling back. This is Apology.
All right, you
yes,
have
let me just
30
finish
seconds
up with. Let me finish up with the 2 points. Now, if we are talking about unemployment and we refuse to do something about energy, power, then we won't achieve anything, because it's very paramount to setting up businesses and artisans getting just like one of our guests has said, we have welders, we have all these people, barbers, they won't be able to work. And if by any means they want to work, the alternative like getting fuel, it will be too expensive for them. We need to take care of all this. Then we also have to link unemployment with our import-based economy. If there's much importation other than exportation, there will always be unemployment. We all know this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the sharing with us. This is my last one. Part of things because we have to wrap. Professor Eko in that audio clip mentioned how the economic sustainability and growth plan should be implemented, and as a matter of fact, you mentioned the housing and agriculture component of that scheme. Is that the way to go?
Yes, because looking at it now, there are a lot of problems. We are talking about increase in price of foods items, increase in price of grains. What is stopping this moment in Nigeria? And the land borders, a lot of solving people's problem in a profitable way. we have a lot of problem in Nigeria. There is shortage of food materials. There is price increase. People got tons of young people that were claiming that okay, they are unemployed. Nigeria have started exporting soybean. We are exporting wheat. We are exporting a lot of things. We had in news sometimes that Nigerians are exporting yam. Then what is stopping us from producing all this? Let them train our young people. Instead of posting all coppers to schools, let them provide modern tools for them and show them sample how to go about it, how to be convenient for them. Gone are those days of oil boom. We are now in the era that government have to do. Now, if care is not taken, we will soon run shops. You hardly find people that will help you. Whether don't have apprentice again. What is stopping our government to go and revitalize our technical schools? It shouldn't be the way it should. You cannot take even a day new young people there and they will not go because the way it is. Let them train them in a modern way with modern equipment. You see young people abroad doing great things. Where are those materials here? Gainfully employed. $60,000. The 774 job is to pay you 20,000 for 3 months. And now people have put their hope for more than since last year they've started, early January. Nothing has been paid in Ogun State, I'm very sure. None of them have been paid. They've collected their bank account, but they have not been paid. How people that are paid? First of using such money is about 46 something billion naira. If that can be invested in bringing people together and do something that will have multiple effects in our economy. For instance, if young people are gathered together, train them either locally or abroad to do something that will add value.
We have someone on Facebook who's asking for the WhatsApp number, so I'll call it again. For everyone who wants to drop a comment on WhatsApp, it's 0817 555 1067. 0817 555 1067.
All right, so they heard it. Housing and agriculture, way to go. I hope you can do that in about 30 seconds.
Well, he has really made a lot of submissions there. But, well, we can only keep talking. Government should, should get to work and do the needful. The case for paper certificates, Nigeria should make a shift. Even people who go to graduate, they are also looking for, white collar jobs, whereas they can also be employers of labor.
All right, we'll have to proceed in the commercial, but when we come back, we'll proceed to the second segment of this, which is from the pages. Stay with us.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your tech station.
Fọ́ńdàmárì dúpẹ́. Fọ́ńdàmárì dúpẹ́. Adúpẹ́ ṣe. Fọ́ńdàmárì dúpẹ́. Ọwọ́ yóò ní bàrà wa o. Adúpẹ́ ńlálẹ̀ owó. Ṣé ẹ tún ti gbọ́? Wọ́n ní ṣé ẹ tún ti gbọ́. Fọ́ńdàmárì wọ́n ní ṣé ẹ tún ti gbọ́. Kí ni o? Ọ̀rọ̀ làwọn ọjọ́ rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Ọ̀rọ̀ làwọn ọjọ́ rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Ṣé ẹ rí lẹ̀ òkú? Wọ́n ní ṣé ẹ rí lẹ̀ òkú. Plọ́ọ̀tì kan kò rárá. Plọ́ọ̀tì kan kò rárá. Iléeṣẹ́ First January Agro Investment Limited ẹ̀yẹ méjì kì í jáde ẹ̀ Ansarudin House Quarry Road Pepsi Abẹ́òkúta.
Abeg, shey man you beat Chelsea for house.
Come on, PSG Lille. Anybody win?
You try. When Melbets, they give iPhone 12 and AirPod new one cha-cha-cha for the
On top the bet and win promo, all you need to do, download the Melbet app for iOS or Android. Register or log inside the Melbet website. Make you use the promo code iPhone. Make you bet via the app or website. The more you bet, now so your chances of winning go increase. Oh, make you know the terms and conditions day.
31st of May this year, now in this promo go handle.
Ongbo ba ba ka wo ka lórí mẹ́wàá tá a tún fi mẹ́wàá kún kí lárúkọ tó máa fún wa. Ogún iléeṣẹ́ IAS ló tún gbọ̀nà àrà ọ̀tún yọ lọ́ba kó ogún ẹ̀bùn lẹ̀ kógún ènìyàn olóríire tún lè fi kún ogún wọn tí wọ́n ti fi ogún kó jọ bó bá ṣe pé èmi nìwọ ni tó ṣe tán tó fẹ́ ralẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí iléeṣẹ́ IAS táyé ń gba tiẹ̀ ní màá yá tètè lọ ìròyìn ayọ̀ tó níbàárà ń sọ nípa àwọn fèlè lọ́kàn balẹ̀ wọn kì í ṣe oníjìbìtì wọn kì í sọ̀rọ̀ ànádìí bá mi ìmọ̀ oníbàárà lọ́wọ́ kójúmọ́ tó mọ́ gbogbo ilẹ̀ tẹ́ ẹ bá sì rà ń bẹ̀ níwèé rẹ̀ àtúpé pérépéré kò wá túmọ̀ síbẹ̀ o bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń ra ilẹ̀ lásìkò yìí iye 20,000 naira tó bá wà nínú owó ilẹ̀ tẹ́ san iye tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì oríire tẹ́ máa fi jẹ ọkọ̀ ayọ́kẹ́lẹ́ bọ̀gẹ̀nẹ̀ Toyota Camry Big Daddy àti Toyota Camry Muzzle ọ̀ṣàrà ọkọ̀ máa lọ mọ́tò pépépé yàtọ̀ sí àwọn ẹ̀bùn bíi tẹlifíṣàn home theatre deep freezer washing machine àní ogún ènìyàn olóríire ló máa fi ogún ẹ̀bùn ṣe ìfàjẹ́ lọ́jọ́ kẹwàá oṣù kẹwàá tá a máa yí koto oríire tètè yá kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ IAS tó bá súnmọ́ jùlọ pé 09033773189.
Do you feel the need to take your business to greater heights, grow your business and services beyond your wildest imagination, and have your business and services get to your targeted audience in good time? Worry no more. The integrity station, Splash FM 106.7, has got all it takes to put your business and services on the map and give you the desired reach that you need. With our affordable rates, amazing reach, and quality programs, you can rest assured that we will take your business to greater heights. Do business with us today. For inquiries and other placements, outdoor coverage, events, and many more, contact us via telephone on 0811-249-0577 or visit our corporate office, Kilometer 1, MKO Abiola Way, Abetu Junction, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Splash FM 106.7, Abeokuta, the integrity station. We always have you covered.
àǹfààní aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ iṣẹ́ ń tẹ̀síwájú o.
Akọ́lé máa lẹ̀.
iléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ homes and property Nigeria limited lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn fún ẹni mẹ́wàá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láàárín ọgọ́ta ènìyàn. high level city randa 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí 100,000 lẹ́sàn. tí ẹni mẹ́wàá yóò sì láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀ mẹ́wàá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láàárín àádọ́ta ènìyàn. Goshen Greenview Estate òṣèlè 150,000 àní báyìí 80,000 lẹ́sàn. ẹni mẹ́wàá ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ tún láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀ láàárín àádọ́ta ènìyàn bákan náà. bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko àpèsè village lọ́nà ayétòrò lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títì gan ló wà pẹ̀lú ilé oko orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn lọ́nà Ìbàdàn l'Abẹ́òkúta 30,000 àlẹ́sàn. ẹni mẹ́wàá náà sì tún láǹfààní láti gbalẹ̀ ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan láàárín àádọ́ta ènìyàn. tẹ́ bá ti ralẹ̀ níléeṣẹ́ àgbáyọ homes and property Nigeria limited lẹ́ẹ̀mọ̀ gba tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì àti dọ́kúmẹ̀ntì yìí gan. nọ́mbà 39 NTA road ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 pẹ̀lú ìpè àwọn ènìyàn ló máa sún síwájú di ìparí oṣù kẹrin tásì kòtò oríire. ẹ máa bọ̀ ẹ wá jẹ àǹfààní oríire tiyín o.
Akọ́lé máa lẹ̀.
Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Half of Panorama, well, the shorter half of newspapers now in a few moments, but we've got to, of course, take comments from our online community, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter. And we've got quite a few, so we're going to get to those, and then we're going to read the front pages of Nigerian Tribune and Vanguard newspaper. On WhatsApp, or Gbenga, perhaps you want to begin with Facebook?
All right, on Facebook, Ifeanyi Uchuku says, fix the politics, the economy will be fixed. Also, Zechariah Olubaya Taningbola says, Nigeria of today needs leaders with creative hearts. And then he goes on to say, corruption is beating our nation down on a daily basis. All right, those are the beat of comments that we have on Facebook.
On WhatsApp, there are quite a number of them. Nicholas says, in the First Republic, things worked because the regions were at liberty to develop at their pace. However, when lions are led by a sheep, there is a challenge. The next one is from Muyiwa, who says, good morning. I really respect the submission of our guests. The governments are not making us creative. We do that ourselves. Lola, I tell you all those empowerment from governments are a scam. I give it to the Nigerian youths. While Olajo from Italshan, I believe, says unemployment in Nigeria is a problem of bad leadership. Our leaders are not proactive. Almost all of them are greedy and self-centered. We have leaders that cannot think beyond crude oil as a source of revenue generation. There's so many areas that the government can invest in, and that can reduce the rate of unemployment in the country, but it would not. We have the agricultural and the technological sector. These areas can be worked upon. However, we cannot move forward unless we deal with the issue of power supply. All the so-called programs initiated by this present government is a sham, he says. The N-Power program palliative or soft landing. Now my wife is back to the labor market after wasting her time under N-Power program. Yes, you mean absorb the N-Teach into the state teaching board, but later defaulted in his promises. Now is creating another Empower Life program to be paying 10,000 naira to the Empower teachers and others, as I was informed. With all these acts and programs of the government, it is obvious that the government is not serious about reducing the unemployment rate. Akim from Olomori says, good morning and well done. Please, concerning the special public works program of the federal government going on, I want to tell you that I'm one of the employees from Abeokuta North. Since when the program started, for the past 3 or 4 months now, we're yet to get paid. Okay, that's one actual beneficiary confirming there that he's not been paid. Reverend Zachariah is on WhatsApp again saying, good morning, Splash. Unemployment is kicking against our unity. We need leadership that is known with creativity. And finally, Ibukumba Lola says one of the ways out of the economic challenges of Nigeria is the resuscitation of our epileptic power supply. And that's it. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and contribution. And to our team who says it's not been paid. Gbenga, I believe you were telling me about a conversation you had with Daoud regarding this.
Regarding one of the beneficiaries who was talking about maybe it was being done bank by banks.
Okay.
And that. So maybe, I mean, I'm not exactly an informant, but I'm saying that from my conversation with Daoud, he said he thinks it's a bank by bank thing. And so a certain number of beneficiaries affiliated to a certain bank have gotten theirs, and so maybe
he will eventually get his. I mean, it's not ideal that you're not properly paid, but if you hang on a little longer,
after it kickstarted
and it's 20,000 naira.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all the best to you. Maybe keep us updated as that goes. Now let's head to the newspapers. Yes.
Right. Here with me, Vanguard newspaper is what I have.
I have Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, on the front page of Vanguard, FG fumes as UK offers asylum to IPOB mass sub-members. The number of riders. The first one says UK to grant asylum to persecuted IPOB mass sub-members. The second rider, UK disrespectful sabotaging terrorism fight, says FG. What Biafrans need cherish most is referendum, not UK asylum. This comes from the IPOB. And that's the third rider. The fourth rider, Ohanes Ndigbo tasks Buhari on dialogue. And the final rider, UK wants to COVID-19 vaccine, scientists tell Nigerians. You find that on page 7 of the paper. Also have this as well. Agitators for secession can't bully Buhari. That's coming from the presidency. Also we have this insecurity. We are dealing with the consequences of 33% unemployment via means. The story read our minds. Find that one on page 9. From the CBN, Floyd's killer Derek Chauvin convicted. Day, Chadian President Idris Deby dies on the front line. Son named interim leader for full deregulation yet. And that's coming from the NNPC boss Kiari. We have a picture in Lagos. Live in Lagos, by the way. I mean, I salute your courage, I salute your doggedness.
If you accumulate those hours, it'll mount up to months, and then being stressed, and yeah, my heart goes out to anyone who has to deal with the Lagos traffic.
Matter of fact, though, I'm aware that there's a statistics that mentions how out of 10 years for the
or Bantugu. Sometimes from my house, from car wash, I don't get to Alabata until 1 hour, 2 hours. And when I'm coming back, I think our heart should go.
Our heart goes out to them as well. I lived along that axis, so I can say that that road is. I mean, it should. The government intends to widen it at some point, but I know works has been going on. But
they stop because it's not going to make sense. What they are trying to do is just to do the normal 2-lane, but to look absurd, 3-lane is coming from or the cause 6-lane now from Adaton. Then when it gets to Mo Junction, it will now dovetailing to 2-lane. It's not going to make sense at all.
Well, whatever it is, we implore the state government to, do the necessary and expedite work on that. Okay, now the front page of Nigerian Tribune. Interesting stories here. On page 5, and the big story here is why there will not be national conference. That's according to the presidency. Elimination of bandits. Collaborators will help actualize safe schools. El-Rufai says this. Falano, Olorode, others float new political movement. Asylum to IPOP members. UK disrespectful, sabotaging terrorism fights. The federal government is very upset about this development. We're going to talk about that later on. On local government poll, OYU approved 279.5 million naira to print 2.6 million ballot papers. And you must have heard now about the death of the Chadian president. The Nigerian Tribune reports that rebels killed Chadian president. There's a picture of, well, let me read the headline first. Selling drugged cookies to school children. And there's a picture of the cookies. Imagine the level of villainy to take to sell drugged cookies to children. Children. So the Senate to investigate CCT chairman. CBN creates 500 billion naira non-oil. Judiciary workers strike, passing just a meeting with federal government deadlocked. I'll take a couple more on Punch, interesting ones. No COVID-19 death in 9 days, says NCDC. That's good, but I hope everyone is still trying to mask up and stay safe. And a win for Amotekun maybe. It says Amotekun frees Ekiti monarch, arrests kidnapped kingpin. And federal government may summon British envoy Ohaneze, Afenifere back UK. That's still on their asylum, which I said we're going to talk about. And from Premium Times newspaper now, it says here that Again, federal government postpones meeting with striking judiciary workers, and there's an exclusive saying that ex-Zamfara Governor Yari is now in EFCC custody as he faces long interrogation session. And the final story from Premium Times is Senate moves to create database for livestock. All right, let's head to the analysis section.
Okay, then, well, maybe the big story then will have to do with this coming from a statement credited to Garba Shehu, the spokesman for the president, and he's talked about how agitators for secession can't bully Buhari. Now, people have also talked about how the president should dialogue, should call different parties to the table, hold the national confab of sorts, or even resort to the ones that was done in 2014, organized by then Jonathan administration and all of that. But it seems as though this government just doesn't want to hear anything that has to do with this. Why is that the case?
Okay. Somebody said those who make peaceful change, impossible, make violent change inevitable. Dialogue. That's where everything must still start and end. I read the statement of Shehu Garba, and I doubt whether he actually spoke for the president. These days, nobody can just get up there and say this and that and say federal government has said it. If it is true that he was speaking for the president, I would say that it was not something well thought out. You see, when you are in government, you are not supposed to be part of the problem. They were voted into office to represent us, and even the blind can feel it that Nigeria is standing or sitting at the edge of a precipice. And then, it's not, what is happening to Nigeria is not, unexpected. Here is a country that amalgamated together in 1914, and northern and southern protectorates. We have over 250 ethnic groups. You see, those days we were talking about unity in diversity. Our diversity was something that could be galvanized into something positive. But now, this diversity is the thing that is creating a problem. And the problem is that the problem can be easily solved when people sit together. When government talks about agitators and they rubbish them, then they don't know what the outcome will be. Some of these agitators are peaceful, apart from maybe sometimes when IPOB members, do something, but largely, and it needs to be said, every entity has a right to determine their destiny. It's not when somebody say, let's sit down and let's look at this marriage called Nigeria. If the government actors are the ones saying, no, Nigeria cannot break, people are saying, if it must, let us sit down. To break or not to break is not the issue, but let's sit down. There are nations, those days they were talking about size. Yes, the giant of Africa, but we have seen nations that are not more than the size of Ogun State, and they are doing very, very well. But somebody is running away from something. And if they keep running, then they will keep the brutality. It's not good. The government statement should be condemned outright. The agitators have a right to agitate. The Yoruba say they want to exist on their own. And that was a last resort. What people have been crying for is restructuring. Is it not even ironical that the president wrote to office, under the campaign of we will do restructuring.
Why is he then suddenly changing his mind and going back on it?
And that's what I see is that.
Well, the presidency has denied that he promised restructuring.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. But see, what brought about the APC government is an amalgamation, if you want to call it, of the Yorubas ACN and the ANPP, or they call the CPC now. Yes. And the Yorubas have always been agitating for restructuring. Basic. It's not something that they woke up to. Let's restructure. Let's sit down. But you see, there is something in government that makes people, even the Obasanjo said so. When he was there, he did everything to stop people to stop the Sovereign National Conference. But he did a semblance of one. That's not transparency. When Jonathan was also there, he set up the Okurumu, committee, and they did what everything has been thrown into the dustbin, But if you ask Obasanjo again, I will tell you, we didn't do it well then, Why are they running away from? Then talking about the asylum that the UK is trying to, then you know that, these people, when you have been stopping them from agitating, those people have their own policies. I listened to Lai Mohammed and I just look at him and say, let's face our own country's problem. Let them do what they can do to save, humanity from danger. The other time, military helicopters went to Imo and started bombing, the hideouts of, according to them. But we know the hideouts of bandits there in Zamfara, who has gone there to bombard them. You see, these issues are not as threatening as the one we have up there. That's what I want to say.
Okay, well, let's look at the position of the UK on the IPOB members seeking asylum, which, by the way, the federal government, by way of Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has said is disrespectful to Nigeria as a nation. Now, the UK is saying it's doing this because the members of IPOB have been persecuted and that their punishments, if indeed, agitation is a crime or agitating for, self-governance is a crime, their punishment is severe for whatever crime they have committed. I remember when IPOB was proscribed and that decision was met with uproar by Nigerians who felt that this is not a group that is deserving of proscription. Does this mean that the UK is aligning with IPOB's position?
I do not think so. What the UK is doing, and they have done over time, is that they have been kind of an arbiter, you see, consistent with their own foreign policy. You see, all over the world, and it has happened in time past, in our moments of difficulties. They have tried to, shield people that have been suppressed. During Nadeko days, they also did their best. But, if people are agitating, the proper way in governance is call them to a round table. This has never happened in Nigeria. So look at how this guy started. What is his name? Nnamdi Kanu. It was not, he started, there's a way Nigerian government helps to breed monsters, and he has graduated to whatever level he has. It's because the government did not open up that channel of discussion. Say, come, well, what is your problem? Interestingly, some people in Igbo land are not also supporting him because they are enjoying they enjoy the current patronage. I know the honors have spoken, but there are some pockets of people, in Igbo land, people at the grassroots don't go and say anything against Nnamdi Kanu. But you will still have people who are patrons of government business there that will say, no, this man is hiding there and is allowing people to die here. I think the government should respect UK's decision. Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll have to wrap this up pretty shortly, and so Let's not begrudge you any further to be part of the conversation. Feel free to call us now, 0817 444 1067 or 817 555 1067. That number again doubles as a WhatsApp line. You can also call it as well as 0704 400 1067. 0704 400 1067. Several headlines that you could share your 2 cents on. We have the one that I just provided some sort of analysis about as regards having some sort of dialogue, confabs, and all of those things. UK granting asylum to IPOP members, MASOB members. We talked about the Papa Gridlock as well. As a matter of fact, we have a comment on that on Facebook. I'll get to that very shortly. There's also the one that talked about the Juicing and person who staked to walk out and party with Gbenga and others. In fact, they said that it was pretty disrespectful because I think they waited for hours and there was nowhere to be found. And then the people that were at the meeting tried to plead with them to wait and all of that until they all had to stage a walk out. At the end of the day, there's also the one that deals with the Chadian president, Idris Deby, who died in front line, and his son has been named as interim leader by the army.
The story that is, I think we should take a closer look at is the rescue of the Ekiti monarch by Amotekun. It says here that the Ekiti Amotekun Corps commander, Brigadier General Joe Komalafe, said the traditional ruler was rescued somewhere in Kwara State with the support of vigilante members in Kwara State and Amotekun operatives. So we're seeing a sort of synergy between these vigilante groups that's amounting to, or that is proving to be successful, which is part of what many have criticized our current security architecture for: lack of synergy, lack of intelligence, and we're seeing this in Amotekun. So is this proof that perhaps Amotekun is, was the way to go?
Yeah, surely. Amotekun,
I mean, it's one story, but
is the way to go. The key word there is intelligence, and also the spread to the hinterland where the conventional police will not get to. But it's not surprising. Find out how many policemen we have in the state, then find out. You will be surprised that a large proportion of policemen, operatives, have been deployed to do some other many things. They either, carrying first ladies' bags and, posted to factories, and that's not the daunting task of combating insecurity.
Right.
I think the police should do a rejigging but they always, when you are, each time you have a new IG, they will tell you they dismantle IG's monitoring team, they dismantle roadblocks, people should, those policemen that are attached to VIPs should be, but you find out that all of these nabubu,
right,
you'll find them back there.
Miriam.
Yes, good morning,
Good morning, Mariam.
Yes, my contribution is on Lai Mohammed and IPOB in granted UK, being granted what's called UK granting them sort of respite to come down there. I think it's a welcome development, and I don't think they are sabotaging the Nigerian sovereignty in any way. I think the government might be wondering if the Panorama so they can radicalize, were granted amnesty, and some of them sent abroad. I don't think in IPOB also been granted that particular country has prescribed. Lai Mohammed needs to raise brand. Rescue. I think kudos to Amotekun. They are doing what Sonny Johnson, lawyers, it's not going to be easy to win lawyers when it comes to talking and argument. So I think he's just trying to prepare himself for the actually come out with a set of people. So that's just it. It's a cowardly outsourcing. Government put meeting without actually informing them. It's just he's chickened out of it. So that's just it. So they have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Brian, for calling us.
I think on the Amotekun here, we need to, it's a wake-up call for the Amotekun in Ogun State that is just starting. It's not an office job. It's not, this job is really inside the forest land. If it's about kidnap, and abductions, they should take a cue from what happened in Ondo and also in Ekiti. Thank you.
Okay, we can still engage you more via the telephone line 0827 444 1067 0704 400 1067 and 0817 555 1067. On Facebook, we have these comments. Sanitarian Akinola Alwarantimi says, good morning, all. But when are we going to hear good news from Oshodi Apapa Expressway? We haven't a listening government at all. All they do is to spend money on necessary things, and that's too bad of them. May God help us. As a matter of fact, I recall there was a time the president was supposed to visit Lagos, and all of the traffic jam at Apapa disappeared overnight. And in a matter of another 48 hours, they appeared again. Okay, another message here. Sanitarian Akinola says the Chadian president that was killed in a battle is a sign we heard our leaders in this country go to the battlefield and that's his thoughts, or those are his thoughts on Facebook.
On WhatsApp, we have Olajua from Italia who says, agitators cannot bully Buhari to restructure the country, but killer headsmen and bandits can. What a country we are in. Gabashir is indeed living in a dream world if he thinks we will not get what we want. I wonder what it is we want. Reverend Zachariah Olubayo Taningbola from Wasimi. Nigeria, please create avenue for those youth. On Amotekun, he says, kudos to Amotekun for the job well done in Ekiti. That's it from Reverend Zachariah.
Okay, well, I think that's the bit we can take on this segment of Panorama today from the pages. Let's thank Ayaro Julie. He's been here since 8 o'clock. We engaged him on issue of the day as well as this other segment. Thank you very much, Ayaro.
My pleasure. Thank you.